Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. And we had a lot of fun in the last segment talking about the market update, what's going on with some of the news that's happening, Fed talk, CPI this past week, really driving some great moves in the stock market, especially even the currency market. Nice moves this week. We're going to continue to talk about that stuff. And then we had a lot of people texting in for this free investing class that we do local at our academy here. Congratulations to those of you that got set up with that investing class. If you did miss it, you can text the word investing to the number 210-210 and receive 2 seats for an investing class. These are about 2 hours long, and we talk about how the markets work, different techniques and concepts, and a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about here today, we're going to dissect during that investing class local at our academy. So make sure to text investing to the number 210-210. Also, if you're checking out the show live on YouTube, you can just go to Josh Lilquist on YouTube or Investing and Trading Live, wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. But Al, as I mentioned in that last segment, we're going to get into some different stock analysis. And I'm going to invite people to text in for some stocks that they want to peek at maybe next week, so that way we can kind of keep this going every single week. But there's a stock out there, and there's a tool that Online Trading Academy has. It's called OTA Picks. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the things that really has been helping a lot of people build consistency, but also confidence in their investing and trading decisions, because it's assisting with some different trading opportunities, potential trades. That way you can be guided through the strategy, which is core strategy, which is supply and demand at its finest. So I'm going to talk about some of the different OTA picks here this past couple months here, Citigroup being one of them. And basically what this does is it gives an opportunity, a price chart on where the facts are, where to make your decision, and then guiding you through step by step. So that way you're not just guessing in the markets. It's helping our students guide them through those decisions visually, because I think most of our listeners, and we both know, being able to see things and hands-on is really how you're going to learn how to trade and invest. So back on the 23rd of, looks like January, Citigroup had a trading opportunity, and it was a long position. And it looks like, according to this, there was a long opportunity at about roughly between the $49 to $50 area. And this is long means you want to be a potential buyer in the markets. Right. So looking at that chart, I mean, for our YouTube or our YouTube viewers here, you can kind of see here on the chart, Citigroup really has been kind of down for a while and then sideways for the past 6 months, we'll say, right? So one of the things that the strategy is designed to do is follow what the facts are telling you. And this was a long position right around $50 per share. Now, there's a 3-to-1 roughly win-risk ratio. Right. I want you to explain what that means first, and then we're going to continue to analyze that.
Yeah, there's 2 different ratios in trading and investing. One is your win-loss ratio, and the other is your reward-to-risk ratio. And of those 2, I mean, both are you want both to be in your favor, but of the 2, the most important is the reward-to-risk ratio. What we do and we teach our students is how to find a trade that looks like it has at least a 3-to-1 reward to risk. So for every dollar you're risking, you want to feel pretty comfortable that you can have at least a $3 profit there. Yep. And the reason that we choose that is that's doable. I mean, some people think, well, I want to have 10-to-1 or 100-to-1 or 20-to-1, whatever that is. Those are maybe harder to come by. You will have those occasionally, but if you look at 3-to-1, especially when you're starting, we want to give you the greatest opportunity of being successful on a consistent basis. That 3-to-1 means that you can be wrong 75% of the time. And let's be honest, if you are trading or investing, no matter who you are, no matter how good you are, you will not have 100% success. You're going to have some losses. So if you are using that 3-to-1 reward to risk, it means you can be wrong 75% of the time and break even. Yep. If you're right half the time, that's pretty much a double of your money.
Yeah. So in this case, they had a couple targets on here.
Yeah, and you can, and that's a great point, because a lot of times what we find is that where we see the profit target, it's more than 3-to-1, but we still want you when you're starting to look at that 3-to-1 to lock in a good gain, and then the second target, maybe you let part of a trade run maybe you have 100 shares and you sell 50 shares at the first target and let the second 50 shares ride until the second target.
Correct. Yeah. So this one had those two different targets. So they, like you said, allows people to lock in some profits, or potential profits, but then be able to have those bigger runners. So that way, if you have a couple losers in a row, it doesn't matter. So in this case, it was a 6-1 on the long target.
Great.
And looks like about a 2.5 to 1 for the first one. So that way, if people are looking at a income strategy, people are looking for a backup plan, as I mentioned in that last segment, right? So if people are looking for a backup plan on top of the job, having that income strategy, being able to have the potential profit locked in, that can start helping people hopefully build another bucket as well.
Yeah. And part of the reason to have a target identified is to remove the greed from your trading, because what happens if you enter a position and the price starts to go in the direction you want it to, if you're on the long side, which Josh mentioned, it means that you're buying something hoping that the price will go up in value. As it starts to go up, how do you determine when you're going to take your profit? And one of the problems that most retail traders have is they don't know how to identify a realistic target, and they end up either getting out too soon or holding on too late, and in both cases you end up either losing your profit or not getting as much profit as you can.
Exactly.
So the two components of what you just talked about with Citi that allowed the profit to be realized is, number one, the proper entry, and then the proper target.
Yep. Both targets. So you have to have a protection so that way if you have a small loss, if you're wrong, in this case, that 3-1 would be one loss to 3 to win.
Right. Yep.
So that way, when you have that, you're protected on both ends. That really helps bring comfort to people's trading and investing because you're not afraid of that big loss, which is sometimes people do because that can be daunting for people.
Right. And when you learn the right strategy and you follow the process that is part of that strategy, what it allows you to do is to put a trade together based on the proper price to get in, the proper price to get out if you're right, and the proper price to get out if you're wrong. Preset that, and then don't sit and watch your screen. You can go away. You go out and have some fun. Enjoy your life, and know that if you're protected. If you're wrong, you're protected with a small loss. If you're right, your profit is protected. And then you don't have to watch. Because if you sit in front of your screen and you watch things, your emotions will get involved, and you will more than likely, almost 100%, you won't do as well.
Exactly, yeah. So in this particular case, they had a couple targets there. And it also helps to build your position size as well. So that way they can help guide you through the size, but you still got to do that based off of your account. And that's one of the things that Online Trading Academy teaches is how to have your plan, which I talked about earlier with Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a plan, and then sticking to that plan. And that was Citigroup, and this was roughly about a 3-1 there, which is pretty cool. And, if like I said earlier, if people want to have some different stocks analyzed, you can text in. Let's do that right now. If you want to look at a stock, we can look at this next week for you. Text the word investing and then text that stock after that, and we'll make sure we get you a call, and we'll see what you're looking to understand about that stock, whether it's Citigroup or maybe it's Goldman Sachs or Meta or Google, whatever that may be. So text investing and then the stock that you want to look at after that. And then we'll make sure one of our representatives, reps, give you a call to make sure we know what you're looking for on that stock. Text investing to the number 210-210, and then that stock you have coming up here. So you had...
Yeah, the interesting thing, Josh, is that when you talk about that stock, Citicorp or Goldman Sachs or whatever it is, that is part of our OTA picks. The OTA picks are posted every day on our website. Mm-hmm. But what you don't find is that a whole bunch of verbiage on what the fundamentals are. Why are we investing in that particular stock? What we're looking for is, when is it going to move? When is it going to move in your favor with the highest odds of it successfully moving in that direction for you? Mm-hmm. And that's what we find on a price chart. A price chart is like a book. It's a story that tells you whatever you need to know, everything you need to know about a particular position. In fact, you should be able to look at that chart that you had up there, black out what the company was, and still decide whether there's a good trade and where that trade it should be entered and exited.
Yeah, and then one of the cool things about these OTA picks as well is it has strategy notes. So it's telling you this is why this is a potential trade. Not everyone's going to work either, right? So that's why here's why it's a potential trade. Put your own risk management parameters around that. Here's why this might be an opportunity, whether it's a supply zone or a demand zone, which we've been talking about for several years here now on the show. And then that way you can make your own decision on that and then help guide you through that with log notes. So they actually monitor this as well. So that way you can, if you want to peek at it every day or every other day. But one of the great things about these, for example, Apple is the next one we're going to peek at here, is these trades are put up ahead of time.
That's right.
So that way you don't have to be at your computer for it to execute. So for example, looking at Apple right now, potential trade opportunity. Like I said, not every single one's going to work. You have to take your own risk and take your own rewards and do all that yourself. But it's a potential opportunity, okay? And there's a potential opportunity roughly right around the 145 area. It's not an exact area because you're never going to pick that exact area. That's why we talk about zones when we're buying and selling.
Right.
I want you to talk about what that zone represents real quick.
Yeah, the zone is an area. It really, look at it, excuse me, look at it as a band on your chart where there could be millions of buy orders if it's a demand zone, or millions of sell orders if it's a supply zone. And it doesn't, that number is not specific. It doesn't have to be a million. But what we're looking for is where institutional orders are that haven't been filled yet, but are going to become active if a price hits a certain level.
Okay.
And that's the way that we can do this. You just described earlier how you set a trade before you're actually in it. So you look for where that area of demand, where those orders that are sitting there, where are they going to become active orders? And we can do that with a high degree of accuracy because our strategy, we call core strategy, is based on what the institutions are showing us, and it's based on how they have to trade, which is a big disadvantage to them and a huge advantage to us. And in these classes, we talk about what I mean by that, but it's what allows us to be able to put together a position well in advance of getting into it sometimes, but knowing before you even get into it when you're going to get out.
Exactly, yeah. And, a lot of people are listening are probably like, well, hey, Apple is at $145 a share. I don't have enough money to do that. In the next segment, so stay tuned, I want to talk about how to potentially buy Apple at a discount using a different asset class. And so we're going to talk about that coming up next, so stay tuned for that. But we'll finish that analysis on Apple coming up here. We're getting close to the commercial here. But we just have a lot of listeners that have been wanting to see what the strategy really does. And these investing classes that we do here locally, like Al was talking about, we dissect what that looks like. What are the opportunities? What are the good, bad, and ugly about the markets? How it actually functions. That way it's not overwhelming. Because it can look overwhelming on TV. We're going to break it down to you as you know nothing. So we get people that come to these classes. Some are brand new to the markets, have never traded before, don't even know what a stock is.
Right.
We get some people that have been trading 20, 30 years, and they're looking for more consistency.
Yeah. And some of those people realize they didn't know what they thought they knew.
It's a fun process, but it's a great time because we talk. The markets are fun to talk about. If it's not stocks or sports, I mean, what else is there to talk about, right?
Yep.
But definitely come into one of these investing classes locally here and check it out. We have these classes during the week. We also have them on the weekends, and they're about 2 hours. Al teaches these. I teach these as well, and these are classes where we've taught thousands, just like you, are many strategies which are designed to teach you to make smarter and better investing decisions. So text right now, text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this investing class. Text investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. Also, when you do that, you're going to receive a quick start kit, which actually has some of these OTA picks within there. That way, some of the things that we're talking about here, you're going to be able to see that in that quick start kit. So text the word investing right now to the number 210 for those 2 seats for the investing class and that quick start kit. So Al, as I mentioned, coming up next, we're going to talk about how to buy Apple at a discount so that way you can be more efficient with your capital, because we have a lot of people looking for a backup plan, looking for more income strategies in their life. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We'll be right back.